Right, so this is me after the session, after everyone's gone away, after all the questions have stopped, and what I think as the benevolent, totally not evil, who would ever say such a thing, DM. I'm probably going to put this before the episode today on what roughly happened. Now, this isn't what necessarily happened, it's what I thought would have happened and what actually happened, like my analysis of it. And I'm doing this because I saw Matt Colvin's video, Mathew Colville, really good fantasy writer and pretty good DM in my opinion, and I really liked his content, so I thought, hey, why don't I try that? So here we go. Um, so after where we left off, neutral team had already been through a scenario where Apis should have died, and it was through the ingenuity and, in my opinion, genius of Best James to basically remove Apis' arm, and then I gave him another check. He was saved, and Roland came down, saved him, and they went through another few rooms and stuff like that. I ended up, after they started figuring out, hey, this dust in room 1 is causing this evil entity, we don't know what it is, but after that, they decided to knock all of the ghouls out in each of these rooms. So I decided that, hey, not all these rooms are going to have ghouls anymore. Because what was the point? They'd already done this encounter multiple times, and it was going to wear down on us, so I felt wearing down on myself, and therefore probably wearing down on them. And therefore, I stopped, especially because they'd already done it so many times, and they weren't really losing health anymore, etc. My plan with the Glyphomore stuff, when players went up to room 1 here, and the people settled down, I sent the visage that was in the Glyphomore room towards the cells in rooms 8 and 9. And you see, this encounter that I had only had 1 last week, now it has 2. Because this one had prepared, and that one in the cells down there isn't so unawares anymore, keeping Morax at bay. He was also going to join if they did it, and they'd use their lucidity control powers to make sure that this area was completely blocked off, and then one by one dominate each of the PCs to go against their party and make them fight each other in this corridor. Unfortunately, that never happened, but that was my idea behind it. As you can probably tell, a bit more happened. Never went to room 3. This was just a room of shadows. This would have been a clue where I had laid down an elf with a book of teleportation that was screwed up and illegible at this point. And once again, an elf. I tried to strain as much as I could about the elf thing, which still came to a problem towards the portal, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But when it came to this room, the room 11 and 7, Alex got sucked out into the void, and this would kill any normal character, but his character's undead, he can survive the naked void. And he got a good look at the whole structure of this place floating in the middle. And he discovered that, hey, there was 2 rooms on this axis, and this axis, and I thought I'd tell him, hey, you survived this, and I didn't think you would. Here's a secret room. And he was like, oh man, we got to go to that secret room, and they beeline for it straight down. Which I didn't think they'd do either, because, hey, it's a secret room, could be there. Getting my mistake. Anyway, they came to this room and they searched around for a bit, managed to see a table that led to a portal to the next room. Simple plant encounter, nothing much. The Orb of Annihilation diamond. I did not expect Apis to actually discover that. You see, I've run this adventure a couple of times, and not with this group, with other groups, and everyone's taken that diamond. And it even annihilated one of the groups I ran it with. The other group was saved by a NPC halfway. And they came to this room, the 3 of them. They managed to discover that it was a thing of annihilation, didn't touch it, despite the fact Apis was a pleb. The chessboard, I also wanted to make it a thing of annihilation, as last time it was taken, and they were smart enough not to do anything about it. Apart from Timmy, but, you know, I didn't want to just annihilate him for trying to move a piece. When he reached out towards it, he felt the sting of annihilation and decided, hey, you know, I don't want that. Get the sword, smash, annihilate the sword. Ah, shit. It's a very powerful sword, annihilated as well, showing the very power of this being that was running this place. As they searched his rooms, they found their legendary artifact, as I thought this room would be deadly enough for them. I was wrong. And they found it. And immediately after, they found out that the gem was a gem of seeing because of a really good arcana check by Avis, and they got out. It took them much longer than I thought it would to actually figure out that an elven skull was needed, because the clues they had received so far was there were these skull patterns and elven skulls, as well as a sort of others all around the place. I asserted that it was elven things that needed, and as Roland's a half dragonborn, half elf, I decided, hey, you know, I would tell the party that this thing partially opens for Roland, but not enough for him to get out, and it opened fully for Apis to get out, because he has an elven skull on his head. And they thought it was elven blood. And past that, you know, I was tempted to let them through. Because, you know, they got the gist. It was elven, but not the right thing. They thought the blood of the bag was the thing, not the thing inside it. Eventually, Best decided he'd figured it out, and he did. But his character was too dumb to play it. I think in the future I might allow such things to go by, as after he decided, everyone went silent. Well, this is metagame. What do we do? And that type of metagame I'm okay with. Whilst later on when he said, this is all the stuff to know about it, I was like, you know what, Best stop. Like, you can't spoil stuff like that. You can spoil a plan, sure, because it's your own creation. When it's not your own creation, it's just stories that you shouldn't know, and, you know, it's not best, and I say it in rude ways because I'm an ass. But, yeah, things that I think could have went different in Ty and Samar here. Honestly thought they'd search these other rooms, and we're going to speak about room 2, in case they find out. I honestly thought that, you know, they would have probably died to this deadly encounter down in this room, because it's an orb of annihilation. If you pick it up, orcas can destroy you, and we'll get onto orcas in a bit, and that'll be that. They are divines, they're meant to destroy. And, you know, I thought they'd go and maybe figure out the skull thing a bit quicker. I thought they'd go search for more clues about it after they couldn't figure it out, and they didn't. I also thought that room 6 was going to kill one of them, because they easily fell for another death trap but survived. The ingenuity of this team is something I've not quite come across in D&D for a little while. It's kind of refreshing, actually. They're idiotic, they're silly, idiotic, but when the time comes, you can flip death on its head. It's almost as if they're unkillable to an extent, and I'm a very lenient DM, so I allow it. I eventually, to resolve the Timothy thing, by the way, with no one wanted to say anything. Azazel, the NPC of the group, goes, you know, I'll do it. And, you know, she did. So Best felt like he still achieved something. Which, you know, was a way I felt of rewarding the players. Once they had finally escaped, I described the world of Renee's, and because they detected Orcus, I felt like Orcus should be on the way. This is the second or third time someone has infiltrated his fortress in Time Samar, these mortal worms, but he saw them through the gem of seeing. He saw one of them get stupidly eaten by a plant. He saw them stupidly mess around in his throne, which, you know, irks him and angers him. But you realise that, hey, these guys are fucking idiots. And instead of just wiping them out, he gave them a chance to survive. And when they did, through a skill challenge, and I'll talk about the skill challenge a bit more, he's decided other evil plans. You know, they're stupid people, which makes them easy to test on, but they're resilient, they're strong, they're an actual test. So Orcus might be a recurring villain in the story. Talking about the skill challenge, what Orcus did was destroy the plane of Renee's. The plane is a dead plane, specifically run by undead spirits. Orcus is the demon lord of undeath and has several portals throughout Renee's to his different lairs. It's his realm, and it's been infiltrated time and time again. Although it is a prime material and technically not his, it's enough in his essence that he controls it that I felt like he could fully destroy the place. This doesn't mean my campaigns of Renee's is going to be destroyed in every setting. Of course, every single story is a different canon from one another. Like, if I were to tell the story of a row stag again, it would be completely different. So there was that. The skill challenge that they ran afterwards, I gave them 5 minutes, which I felt was more than generous. The idea was if they got 5 successes, then they'd succeed before 3 failures. What I didn't encounter was how slow they would be to the idea. I tried to explain it, but I felt like I took too long explaining it, not enough urgency maybe, and my description might have been too poor. And therefore, Alex and Kieran were a bit slow on the trigger to the point where when Best's character got through was literally when time was up. And then I gave them another skill challenge, although there was no urgency to do so, because if you fall off of the world tree, which is the portal they decided to go to, apart from Timmy, and I'll talk about that again, there would be no urgency there, but, you know, the plane was killed, so I felt, yeah, maybe let's try again with the skill challenge thing, which was fun. Now, in Renee's, there's 2 portals. One was to the glorious city of Sigil, the centre of the multiverse. It looks a bit darker, a bit evil. And then there was the portal that was full of life and beaming and closer. Now, what I thought Timothy did, and what everyone else thought was dumb, I felt was quite smart, was in a split-second decision, he went, right, we need to get to the Plane of Fire, we need to get to the Underhills, we need to get to Bartle. I have an Urist. I want to make an athletics check and bolt straight towards that portal as quick as I can. I thought that was genius thinking. Everyone else thought, no, that portal's closer, would go with that one. And that's what I kind of wanted them to do, because it's going to be a bit more tricky through Yggdrasil as they came through. The Ratatosk were pissed, and Ratatosk are naturally good creatures, but they convinced them they were innocent, and therefore the Ratatosk chased them off with nuts. But, you know, I was a bit rude with the Ratatosk. I wanted to be a bit harsh. They literally destroyed a portion of that tree. They're going to be kind to that? What the hell's wrong with them? And that's how I thought that would go. It seemed like the people really enjoyed it. I don't think Best too much liked what I did with Azazel. Azazel was always a succubus, sure, and she's evil. There's no doubt she's evil. But at the end of the day, she's still a devil and keeps to her word. And although the party had, they saved her, and they brought her through the Abyss and back, and she said, yeah, I'm going to leave after the Abyss. And she could have killed Orla on so many occasions. She could have killed any of them, Will. But I think Azazel, because evil's about serving yourself, right? Not caring too much about others. Like, she doesn't care about the poor. What matters? But I still think evil characters can have a link. They still have some humanity in them, or, they still can feel these emotions. They're just things they don't enjoy. And therefore, I think that in the end, Azazel thought maybe she'd still destroy them if she wanted to. But, she didn't want to. They'd proven resourceful, and they'd proven to save her life on multiple occasions. The least she could do was, after she revealed herself to Timothy, spare them. And I had to do the Christmas presents thing, and I thought they'd go to Crux. After I pointed out Crux, they didn't. So I said, you know what, Azazel will give them the gifts as a parting farewell. Will Azazel ever return? Yet to be seen, and if she'll return as a good person, or evil, she's spared them as a mercy in her eyes. Perhaps she will not be so merciful in the future. And that was the session. Best took it with his character to heart, even though he's not a very charismatic character. He was acting very charismatic, and I think I like that. He showed that his character cared. Best was extremely into it with this Azazel, and I just tore it away, and I think that was really good. Best, in my opinion, in this party anyway, is the king of roleplay. He is really good. He was really up for it when the world was crumbling down and shattering into glass around him. He was like, oh shit, we need to get out of here, guys. And Kieran and Alex were like, okay, where's the, AC and dice? I think they're on the side. Well, Kieran's definitely a gamer. He's a true gamer. He's willing to play out of character to, he wouldn't metagame. That's not what I'm trying to say. He would steer clear of metagame at all costs. He wouldn't abuse loopholes like, for example, Jose has done in the past, like Aaron's done in the past. He just wouldn't do it. He's just not that guy. But he will not play in character. He plays the game, not the rules, if you get what I'm saying. He's that type of guy. So when I introduced this time skill challenge, I don't think he took to it very well, even though he was speaking for once. And maybe that was it, because he usually types, and speaking for him is a different thing. Alex, on the other hand, he's a wind-up character. He did it with Barbarous. He's doing it with Apis. He didn't do it with Jahar, but, he always plays these unwise characters. And in room 13, when Bess literally spent about 10 minutes saying, "Dude, we have to go, we're all gonna die," he was like, I don't care. So, my current problem is, Best, he's a loyal character. But the way Roland was eyeing up that Black Diamond, even though it was a thing that he knew would instantly kill him if he took it, he was still like, can we take that without blowing up? And how Apis is just willing to kill the entire party for the sake of a couple of laughs. I think I might have to tweak his loyalty flaw. Because loyalty says that, hey, I'm willing to protect all of these guys, and I get skill choice for doing this, or maybe even a feat, I can't remember. But I cannot leave the party behind. If I leave anyone behind, if I'm not the last one out, then I suffer tremendous guilt. And that's when we came to the Calemdrite thing, because he was the first during the Calemdrite battle to leave, and he had disadvantage on literally all checks, until he got a long rest, until he recovered from his guilt. And when you have characters that are literally going to kill themselves, and the rest of you, for the sake of a laugh, or for the sake of gold, and he's the moral compass of the group, he's not willing to do that. How loyal is he to them and the rest of the group? Because he had Azazel and Orla that heard, "We're being spied on, we need to get out of here." And they were like, "Oh shit, we need to get out of here." You have those people trying to leave, and Roland eventually going, "Oh, this chessboard is actually moving. That queen figure's coming after those pawns. Those pawns look like us. We need to get out of it." After the cog started turning, he's a wise character. But he's dumb. It takes him a while to get these hawks moving in his head. But he was still kind of like, "This is Gem, I want it out." And Alex was like, "Oh, let me just have my fun first. Fuck it all, we can all die." How loyal can you be in that scenario? And I think I'm going to tweak his loyalty flaw. So in times like that, he's not going to, perish such. I think that 5 minutes on the timer is still good. I feel like the players are going to get better at that as it goes on, because this was their first ever skill challenge I brought in from 4E after watching, once again, Matt Colville's videos, who's a really good YouTuber. And I saw Alex and Kira not really take to it, Bess took to it. The only problem is, this character doesn't have many skills, and I did drop a hint in the campaign of, hey, you can train skills. It will take 150 to 300 days in Gold Piece, but you can train them daily in your free time. So I think we're going to see some more skills being brought through, and more skill challenges, maybe? I can only hope. And obviously, hopefully, they'll get better at it and get better at the reasoning. I'm trying to bring forth in the games, because I've been very handheld with these players. I've been guiding them through these areas of, look, this is kind of what this item does, this is how you do it, you're still kind of new, I'm kind of a new GM still. I've been GMing for a year, sure, but that's nothing compared to some of these others. And, just tweaking them out, but now I feel like I need to start dropping it. I did not tell Apis that they were boots of haste until I was absolutely sure that they were going to get a long rest before any form of encounter. And I didn't tell Roland that it was necessarily his items until, he looked at them and thought, oh, they're useless, and put them away. And I was like, shit, he's just put away some really powerful magic items. Azazel knows this. She's going to tell him as a farewell. yeah, I did fudge some rolls and some DCs, if you saw. But that's just part of the behind the scenes. I don't want them to necessarily die, but I still want it to be a challenge for them. That's the point of D&D. You're supposed to do these epic things, and they're supposed to be challenging, and other teams might be like, well, that's not fair, because we die in these scenarios, but they live, and it will be like, yeah, but they're not the exact same scenarios. For example, when the Void was pulling people out, Apis was right there. He had a more difficult DC than two people that are like, I'm going by the table in case something happens. Yeah, I'm standing with full defense in case something happens. You know, they were prepared. Whilst other people in these scenarios, when Timmy drew the card out the deck of many things and killed a bunch of characters off, it was a case of, okay, well, yes, it was a die scenario, but this wasn't save or die. This was just die. And people would sometimes find that unfair because their scenarios are different. That's the problem with running these big games. I think I'm going to have to sort something out about that. If you have any suggestions, feel free to mention them in the comments to me. I'd be more than happy. But yeah, anyway, you've probably been listening to me ramble for way too long now, and you probably are like, okay, where's this game? I want to kind of see it, you know, I want to know what the fuck it's talking about. So that's my session description and analysis of what could have happened. I hope you enjoy, and I hope if you are actually going to watch all of this, I doubt you will, I don't see why you'd have the free time, but if you do, I hope you do enjoy. I might do more of the session analysis / reviews, depending on the time, because as you can tell, this would be the time normally that I'm mid-session for these guys. We got an early start today, and this weekend's full of D&D, because I have just tons of free time for once in my life. So, you know, maybe more of this type of stuff would be good. It depends when I can sleep. This is for fun, not for stress. Anyway, let's archive Ty and Samar, as we're going to wait till Sunday till next Neutral Team session. I didn't upload Evil Team session. I should say this before I'm recording, because the Roll20 system, as you can probably tell, we were using Hangouts because the new Roll20 mics, they're not very favourable with the majority of us, and for the 5-hour session I had with them, or 5.5 hour I should say, I was yelling to myself at a disconnected screen for a decent 2 hours, and during the last 2 hours when we finally got it working properly, I was just so tired out that I was unable to DM properly, and I'm not very confident in what I did, and I feel like I pissed some people off, frankly, so that's not going to get uploaded. But before the episode, I'll try to do one of these analysis things. Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble, and I hope you enjoy the stream. Oh, not the stream, what am I talking about? The adventures of the idiotic adventuring neutral team.